Okay, great. Okay, onegaishimasu. It's in Japanese means let's train together, basically. So I just want to put the stick in the hands, just about shoulder width, feet about hip width, and just want you very gently, just loosening the knees, just coming in and out of the ground, and just keep the hands nice and light, lowering the body, working the vertical. Keep the knees open, relaxed, and just play with, just gently bringing the body up and down, sinking the weight into the mat. Get used to the weight of the weapon as well in the hands. Perfect. If it's a little bit cold where you are, it's early and you want to kind of wake up a little bit, you can also change this into a jump. And here it's the kind of mid, coming into the late morning. A little bit gentler. The main thing here is really feel the shoulders relax. Let just the weight of the weapon, just drop the shoulders down a little bit. So if it's kind of pulling the weight down. That's it. Great. We're going to change this now into a rotation movement. So just twisting the body left and right. Nice and comfortable. Keep the knees relaxed. Just swinging side to side. And just get used to the weight of the weapon in front of the body. And a little bit of a twisting motion into it. Perfect. That's it, great. Great. Okay, taking this back to the center, what you're going to do is just raise the sword up to the top, right up to the top. And then bending from the knees, just stretch the body out. You're just going to bring the hands to the toes, all the way down. Relax at the bottom, curl the spine, let the head relax. And then gently drawing the body up, keeping the knees relaxed, drawing all the way up. Up to the top again, reaching up. Keeping the knees bent as you come down. All the way down, bring the hands to the toes. Relax the head. Slowly bending the knees, curling back up. Perfect. And just one more time, reaching up. Coming down. Stretching out. Bringing the hands to the toes. Just in this one, just let the weight settle a little bit. Drop the head. Feel the weight of the body. Gently coming back up. Perfect. And for me, just to loosen the shoulders up. A lot of the weapon work dealing with the arms, so the shoulders tend to get a very tense to it. So we're just gonna have a little bit of flexibility in the shoulders. Keep that same grip and just play with just rolling the shoulders out to the back. That's it. Perfect. So you're just gonna try and mobilize the whole shoulder. That's it. Great, and then going forwards. Rolling. Okay, perfect. Now for this one, you're going to take the sword like this, we'll stick like this, just with the thumb on the other side of it. You're going to straighten the arms at the bottom, here like this, and then just raise the sword up to the top, just as high as you can, all the way up to the ceiling, all the way up. I'm just going to go there so you can see. And then from this position, I want to bend the elbow, bring the sword down behind the head. Just go as low as you feel comfortable. You can get to the back of the neck and the shoulders, perfect. And then from here, you're just going to reverse it, bring the sword up, straighten the arms out, and then let the arms just drop down, nice and slow. And then one more time, you're going to go up, open, keeping the elbows straight, bending the elbows at the top of the movement, all the way down to the shoulders. Perfect. And then reversing it, stretching the arms back up. Coming down. Nice and relaxed. And just do one more of that movement. Just letting someone into the room. Perfect. That's it. Great. Great. One more hit. You're just going to take the sword at the back, the body. Take it so that the thumbs point towards each other. This way. Keeping the back long and the neck straight. Just think about raising the arms up. Just up to the top. You're going to soften the shoulders at the front. So you don't want to kind of lock out and get tense. Just think about raising the arms up. When you get to the most, where your comfort level is, just hold it, take a deep breath. And then from here, I want to bend the hips, drop forward, draw the arms a little bit further up as you bend down, nice and slow. Opening the shoulders up. Slowly coming back up, dropping the arms down. And then as you get here, just one more time again, just raise the arms up, keeping the spine neutral, long. Bring the arms up, and then slowly bending from the hips. Draw the arms up a little bit further, relax the head. Back, nice and slow. Perfect. Relax. That's into the room. Sorry about this. Great. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is just going to work the hands a little bit. So, see, working with weapons, you need a kind of grip, and we're working the grip a lot in terms of the movements of the sword. You're just going to play with just having the hands relaxed, and then just gripping it in, and have a little bit of a feeling here that you're pulling the arms apart. So you just want to relax the hands, grip, and then have a sense of kind of pulling them apart. So you just want to play with opening, closing, pulling a little bit. Opening, closing, pulling a little bit. Great. Opening, closing, pulling a little bit. Now, when you open, and especially when you close the hand, think of closing from the little finger first. So you're going to close the grip from the little finger, and then the last two fingers just wrap around, and then just gently pulling the weapon apart. That's it. Bring that. That's it. Perfect. Good. That's it. Great. Okay, great. So we're going to go into, obviously, this is a sword, so it's basically used for cutting. So it's a cutting weapon, and it's an edged blade. Now, what we're using is a bokken. So in Japanese, basically means a wooden sword. So it's basically a wooden replica of a katana, basically a live blade. So this is basically used as a training tool in traditional Japanese arts. For those of you who practice, you already probably know most of it. And for those of you who don't, it's basically used as a safer version of a live sword to train with. So it's used mainly for solo practice in terms of Aikido. And later we'll do it, we work with partner work with the weapon. But the first step with it is learning just how to swing the sword. So we're going to cover this today, and we're just going to do a really simple cut to start. So I just want you to, don't worry about the feet. We're just going to start with the grip. So always with the sword, you're going to take the left hand at the base of the weapon. Okay? And the right hand, you just want to place it about one hand's width up the sword. So on mine, because this is a specialized weapon, I've got it basically where the blade would start on the sword. So my hand just falls just before the blade starts on it. And if you've not got, obviously you've not got the bokken, you just want to be about a hand's width in between. So just about that kind of distance with it, right? And in terms of the Japanese sword, you're basically always going to have the right hand on top of the weapon. So you're never going to be, in this case, with the left hand. Sometimes you will, but this is like unorthodox. So in terms of what we do in Aikido, we're keeping always the right hand on top of the weapon. Okay, so just get kind of comfortable with it, just having the sword in the hand, and just feel the weight of the sword in front of the body, nice and gentle. So you shouldn't feel a lot of weight forward. You should just feel like it's balanced into the body, just there, nice and easy. So just work with the grip. Left hand at the base, right hand in front. Yeah. So just feel the weight of it. And we're going to next go into, great. So the next thing you're going to look at, we're going to line up the sword to the center line of the body. So if you imagine your belly button, right in front of the body, or if you see where my belt is, this is the center line that's going to run all the way through the body. So what I want you to think about is taking the base of the sword or your stick and just lining it up now with your belly button. So you're going to take this the shoulder width stance here, line up the base of the sword with the belly button, and then again just place the right hand on top. Just there. So you just want to feel that the sword's basically anchored into the center line of the body. Now the cut we're going to work on today is going to run right through that center line of the body. So it's going to fall up and down that line. So the first cut we do is basically a centering cut. It goes straight through the body. So what I want you to do now is just feel you're going to raise the sword up and you're going to bring it right to the back of the spine, all the way to the back, and then drop it all the way down. Bring it up to the spine, drop it all the way down. That's it. To the spine, all the way through. And as if you're kind of cutting yourself in two, you want the sword to just trace a line all the way down the center line of the body. Just give that a try, just getting used to. So the first job that we've got to do in this case is again centering the cut, but you're not only centering the cut, you need to bring the arc of the sword into the body. So the first thing we're going to look at is the path of the sword takes. So if you focus on the tip of the weapon, as I do this movement, it forms an arc up, and it forms an arc down this way. So it's basically tracing an arc in front of the body this way. And what I need to do is match this arc movement to the body. So I'm bringing it into the spine stays long, and then as you come through, what I want to think about is just gently dropping the weight of the body into the ground. So you're really going to soften the body, let the arc drop through. So really let the sword now, or your stick, drop towards the ground. That's it. Drop towards the ground. That's it. So you want to be as light as possible in the hands. And I basically, if you imagine the sword, if it was left to its own devices, it would just drop to the floor. So this is the kind of arc I'm looking for on the sword right now. You just want to let the gravity drop the sword to the ground. And then what I'm going to do is align behind that movement of the sword with the body. So as it drops down, I align my structure, my whole body to that arc. So let gravity do all the hard work. And you want to be as relaxed as possible. That's it, perfect. Drop. That's it. So it should feel totally effortless at this point. You don't want to be putting in. First thing we're looking for in the first principle that basically the weapon is teaching us is how to relax the structure. So I don't want to, in any way at this point, add any kind of power into the arms and kind of think about cutting with the weapon. The first level with this is basically organizing the structure around the sword, organizing my body with the ground. So I want to basically not resist the movement of the weapon. I don't want to add anything which is going to pull me out of the ground. So what I want you to think about is the whole weight of the body dropping right between the feet as you drop in. That's it. And you're going to match again that movement of the body dropping down with the sword dropping down. So the whole weight goes down into the ground. So none of my movement is going out this way and pulling me out of the ground. So everything's going bam into the ground. So you're looking for this relaxed, heavy body hitting the ground. That's it. That's it. That's it. So Aikido is really about doing less all the time. So we get used to this idea of power, and being strong is something like feels like this. So powerful feels tense, but actually powerful later is just movement. So you want just to feel that the weight drops down, but I don't want any kind of tension in the upper body at all in this one. So just dropping the weight, and feedback on this is if I get all this tension building. Yeah, and I really won't be able to do this. I won't be able to sustain that practice for very long. So you're looking for really, again, relaxed, heavy. Perfect. Great. We're going to go to the next level now, which is about balancing the cut out. So obviously, when you make the cut, you're going to finish it at this level. You're not going to let it cut down to the ground like this way. So what I want you to do now is just place the weapon in front of the body this way. And what you're looking for is the sword to be parallel with the ground. So it's going to finish in a horizontal pattern like this way. So again, bringing it to the back, dropping the center in, and then let the hands just finish here. Again, they're going to stay on that center line of the body. So if you imagine where your belly button is, the sword's going to finish at that level. So it goes to the back, and then just drop the sword in. So again, you're not looking for power, you're just looking for precision. And now just getting the sword in front of the body, dropping, placing the weapon. Dropping, placing the weapon. That's it. What we're looking for now is balance in the body. So again, what the weapon is teaching us, and in this case, what the weapon is forcing us to do is find balance in the structure. So watch this. If I do the movement like this, I'm out of balance. The structure will fall forward. Now, the body will do one of two things. It will either fall forward because it's imbalanced, or the worst thing that will happen is you'll use tension to hold the body up. And I'm basically doing this with the structure. So as I now find the ground, if I'm out of balance in the structure, it will tense. And you'll end up with these strange kind of positions like this kind of position, where I'm putting the back and the spine under a lot of pressure. And then if I do a lot of this, I'm basically working against the structure of the back, and I'm going to break things. So what I want you to think about now is balance again in the structure. Think about balancing the weight of the sword out with the back of the body. This way. So it shouldn't feel like you're pulling the sword away and that my hips want to kind of get into this position. It should feel again, the sword drops in, the weight drops down, and I just want to be nice and balanced with the sword. But I've got to match that with the structure of the body. So as the sword goes forward, think about filling the back of the body. So the back, the neck, the spine, and the back of your hips. Think a little bit like you're kind of sitting down into a seat and you're kind of pressing that back. Okay? So you just want to kind of gentle pressure from the back of the body. It's going to meet that weight as it goes forward. So come back, there, drop it in. So you're really looking for a nice balanced position in the body. Great. Very good. Okay, we're going to go now to the grip and basically finishing the cut. But before that, we're going to just go back into the grip a little bit. So there's a specific way that you need to hold the sword in order to be able to kind of use it in a kind of functional way. So what I want you to do is just work in this grip. You're going to work as if you would grab a hammer. So as if you're kind of grabbing something to hammer a nail in, like this. And you want basically the sword to be across the palm like this. Okay, it's just the first step. What I want you to do from this position is just let the sword go into a diagonal on the grip. So you go from that position just to that. Okay. Now from here, what I want you to think about is wrapping the little finger on the grip and then bringing the third finger, the ring finger on, and then just close the grip in the front. But the front fingers in this case, you just want to be nice and relaxed. Okay. So the grip you want is to feel that the hand is on top of the weapon, but it's traveling across the palm that way. So you're creating a kind of V in front of the body that way. So just play just with the right hand to start with. Just feel you get into position. So you don't want to be, in this case, you don't want to be slipping off the weapon where I'm basically grabbing it from underneath, because this will cause a lot of tension in the thumb. And as I start to add power into the cut, it will start to work against the joint of the thumb. In the other sense, I don't want to be on top of the weapon where the shoulder's loaded, and then it will basically take a lot of pressure into the wrist and into the shoulder. And again, if I add power to that, it's going to create a lot of tension in the body. So the grip I want is one where I can basically release the shoulder, release the elbow, and the hand should basically be cushioning it. The main thing for us here is that the heel of the hand, this part, is basically cushioning the weapon. So you're using that part of the grip, or that part of the hand, just to cushion the weapon. That way. Once you feel you've got it in the right hand, just play with the left hand. So the same thing applies. In this case, just one thing, you want the little finger to be right at the base of the weapon. So there shouldn't be any space at all between it. You don't want, in this case, to be off the weapon too much, where the little finger is going to kind of wrap around the weapon here. So you just want it wrapped around. And the same thing, you want that part of the hand to be pressing in. And you want the front two fingers to be loose again. So you want that kind of grip. And the feeling you want is if you're kind of wrapping the hands around the sword. This way. So once you've got it in the left hand, just start to play with opening and closing the grip. Okay? And you can do this two ways. You can do them at hands together, or you can open and close one. But you just want to feel that all the time you're just going to fall into that grip. So again, you don't want to be on top of the weapon. You don't want to be underneath the weapon with the grip. You just want to be just in that middle position here. That's it. Perfect. That's it. Good. Perfect. Very nice. Good. So what you're going to do now is just very lightly bring the sword up, relax the fingers in the grip, and then just squeeze the hands together. So you're going to relax, bring the sword up, squeeze down. So again, don't think about power, just think about bringing the hands together. So you're going to open, bring the sword down, close the grip. Open, close the grip. Open, close. Open, close. You just want a gentle arc in front of the sword, in front of the body. That's it. What you're looking for now, again, is about balance. It's to bring both hands together in time. So you want to release them, bring them together. Release them, bring them together. That's it. That's it. That's it. And again, just listen in the body for kind of tension. You might feel tension more in one side than the other. Usually the right hand, if you're right hand dominant, you might tend to get a little bit of more tension in the right shoulder. And because of the kind of asymmetrical position of the sword, the grip, the right hand's more forward, it will tend to get a little bit more tense. So see if you can, again, just listen to the body balance the structure out, and look for both hands just to be equally gripping the sword. You're a little bit like kind of squeezing it. Squeezing the weapon out. That's it. Perfect. Again, what I want you to notice as you do this, play with, once you've got this squeezing position, just feel that the rest of the body's relaxed. So again, I don't want, in this case, the tension in the hands, this kind of firm grip, to basically squeeze the shoulders up and basically tighten the front of the body and the neck, this whole area. So play with, in this case, one exercise you can do from this is play with gripping the sword, tense, and then tense the whole of the upper body up. So then from the neck to the shoulders, the arms, the pecs, the abdomen, everything, tense that whole area up, and then see if you can relax it, but keep the grip on strong. So the grip, especially in the back of the hand, you want to feel the rest of the body is really relaxed. So it's soft and it's flexible. But again, I don't want to be going into a tense movement where I'm basically locking the whole system up. So in terms of martial arts, this is what you're looking for in terms of function. You're looking for the ability to focus your energy, but I don't want the body to basically lock up in that case, especially for Aikido, because it's really focused on. So we'll take this to the next step, and then we're going to bring the legs into it. Again, just take yourself into a shoulder width movement. You're going to, again, bring the sword to the back, and then you're going to bring this grip into it. So as you drop the sword down now where you place it, I want you to now squeeze the grip on as you find the cup. So you're going to drop in, squeeze the hands. Find the back, squeeze down into the cup. Drop into the cup. Drop into the cup. Drop in. Drop in cup. That's it. Good. Great. Keep going. Great. So again, the main principle that this sword cut teaches again is centering. So you want the sword to be passing straight through the center line of the body. And now especially notice at the end of the movement, you want the center of the body and the sword to be one thing. So again, where your belly button is, and now where the hands and the tip of the sword, they're basically going to form one line. So one structure through it. And you want to basically drop into that line. So again, use the spine basically to get the body straight, get the sword centered right into the center line of the body, and then let the sword fall into that line. Drop into it. Drop into it. So the whole sword's going down. What you want to avoid now is anything where the arm's going to start to split away from the center of the body or something like that. Okay, so you just want to, again, drop into it, find the center. Drop into it, find the center line. Yeah, perfect. Great. Oh, hello, someone's coming. Okay, great. So now we're going to look at the footwork. So we're going to take this in Aikido, we use a specific position with the feet, which we call hanmi. And it basically, in English, means half body. So I'm basically presenting one side of the body at the start. So in this movement, you're going to work just with the right side of the body. And what I want you to think about is that we'll first start it like this. You're going to bring the heels together, and we're going to come into Kamae with it. So touch the heels together. The toes, you just want them just gently pointing away. So they're not kind of straight forward. You just want them gently out. You're going to have the stick and the sword in the left hand, just at the left hip. That's it. And then from here, we're going to practice just coming into Kamae. So you're going to bring the right foot forward with the right hand. It's going to come over the top here, and then just going to draw the foot forward and just drop into stance here. That's it. And I just want to practice here coming back, bringing the heels together, dropping the sword to the left hip, and then coming forward, dropping into Kamae. So in Kamae, basically means like a ready position or a stance. So this is a basic starting position. You just want a nice, smooth, coordinated movement. Sword at the left hip, right hand comes over, drop the foot in, and just sit into the posture. So again, the knees should be relaxed. You should have a slight springiness. The upper body should be relaxed. And you want the spine to be long. You don't want to be kind of crouched over. So again, you're trying to fit the weapon into the posture, the weight of the weapon and the position of the arms. Just trying to sit it into the posture. Great. Just a few moments here, and then we'll go. So again, the key point of this, when you come into Hanmi now, you want the sword to basically line up with the center line of the body. So in other sword arts like Kendo, you'll usually have the body a bit straight on. So like this, so the hips and the shoulders are basically forming a rectangle in front of the body. And the feet are going to do the same thing. In Aikido, we use a slightly different stance, which is a bit more triangular. So in this case, the back foot and the front foot basically cuts it like this. So the back foot's pointing out gently, and the front foot is basically here. And I basically, the body falls onto one line. Now from here, the right side and the right hip are a little bit more forward, okay? But the key in this position is that the sword is still lining up with the belly button. So you want to be slightly triangular with the body this way, and shove from this way. So rather than that kind of position, you want to be in a wedge position, slightly more triangular. Again, knees relaxed, but feel that the body, the sword's basically connected into the center line of the body. But you're in a slightly more triangular position. Perfect. That's it. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So we'll take this now to the full cut. So this is the first 𝒊𝒏𝒈, and 𝒊𝒏𝒈 basically means like swinging practice. So these are what we've just done, a kind of preparatory movements, just to find the arc of the sword and then get the handwork in details like this. This is now the first kind of full cutting practice that we do. So again, starting with the right foot forward, find the kamae with the body. Now in this case, as you raise the sword up, the right foot, you're going to bring it up to meet the back foot. And again, finding the spine with the sword. Now for the cut, you're going to drop the foot back and sink the hips in to the cut. Great. And then from here, raising up to the back, bring the feet together just to meet, and then drop into the cut with the hip. So you go back, forwards, bring the foot back, find the spine, drop the cut in, back, drop, back, drop in. Great, give it a try. Go ahead. So this is the first. So the first thing I want you to be really conscious of now is obviously you're moving the feet. Before you didn't have to move the feet. What I want you to think about is now coordinating the handwork and the feet, the hands and the feet together. So as you raise the sword, try and feel that you're not raising the arms first and then the foot goes. And the same on the way down. Don't bring the hands out and then the foot. Try and link them together. So as the foot goes, the hands go. As the foot goes, the hands go. So bring them together. 1, 2. So you're trying to coordinate first, handwork, footwork. 1, 2. 1, 2. Again, don't worry about power. Go to coordination because genuine power is going to come from coordination first, not from. So we're going to revisit those same points. We'll go back through them. So first, think about balance. So balance, basically, if you think about the most balanced position you can be standing, is basically this position. So the structure, what it means is basically the structure is basically aligning straight into the ground. So you've aligned the posture with gravity. So there's no tension needed to support the body, or there's little tension as possible. Okay, as you go into stepping position, any position which is going to break that alignment is basically going to increase tension in the body. So if I'm out of balance, the body's got two options. Again, it falls over or it holds itself in tension, and that wastes energy. So the more I kind of wait, I don't want to waste any energy, especially in terms of martial arts, but especially in life. You want to be as lazy as possible in life. You want to do as little as you actually need to do to function. You don't do anything more because it's just a waste. So play with the idea now of your balance from this position. Just watch if you're basically loaded forward in this position and try and find the balance in that structure, which again basically means the posture is going to line up straight to the ground. And the key part of this now is as you go back. So you want the structure to be balanced through the back. You don't want to be leaning back into this movement. Again, it's going to create a lot of tension in the body. So find the middle of the posture. And now also in the cut, as you come into the cut, this is the trickiest one because you're bringing the body forward and your intention goes with the cut. So you need to basically meet that with the body again. So this is a very easy position to lose my balance, throw it forward, or try and throw the weight back to kind of compensate. So you want to now look for genuine sense of balance. So it basically means the structure is just going to drop down through and into the ground. You want a direct line. So, great. Okay, we're going to the other point. So the other point is really about grounding, finding the ground through the cut. So what I want you to feel like is as you cut, this is obviously a feeling, this is not actually the truth, but I want you to feel like as you cut with the sword, that it hits the ground like this. So I want you to feel like as you cut, the sword is basically powering into the ground. So what that means in this position, again, it's about the balance in the body, but you want the feeling that the sword's basically hitting into the ground. So through the feet and the hips, grounding down, you want to feel that bam, there's basically a power going into the ground, power going into the ground. So the cut's not so much an outwards movement or an outwards push, it's a downwards percussion into the ground. So this is the kind of cut we're practicing in Aikido. So you want to feel that the ground's right there in the weapon. Right. That's it. Great. So we're going to bring one element that we have not talked about, which is the breath. Now, breath's kind of complicated, but it's actually really simple. You want the breath to follow the movement. And you don't want to be doing anything artificial, which is going to force the breath. You want basically the breath to align to the movement. So if you do this kind of naturally, and you were kind of moving with it, you'll probably find that this movement is a kind of an in-breath, and that this movement is an out-breath. So it's an expression of power. Later is going to be like a kiai. So later in Japanese arts will be a kiai, which is a kind of shout out. I can't do kiai in this environment because I'm basically full of neighbors. So I'm not going to shout, but the idea here is you want an explosive out-breath. So try and link now the feeling of the raise, in-breath, and then as you drop in, release the breath. So again, the breath is going to come out with the movement. So breathing in, release it. Breathing in, and then release it. That's it. And the breath again is going to follow the movement. So if you have a more explosive cut, you're going to have a more explosive breath, which will generally start to come out into a shout or a noise. And if you're doing a smoother movement, it's going to be a smoother breath. So you just want to match the quality of your movement. Great. So everything we've done up to now is cutting on the right side. So with the right foot forward, we're going to now start to bring in the left side. So I want you to do it like this. You're going to come back with the first cut. It's the same, cutting on the right side. Now, as you raise, I want you to bring the back leg together with the front leg. So you're going to step into it now. Bring the feet together. And then from here, drop the back leg here. Drop into it. So you're going to do the patterns like this. You step in with the raise, find the spine again, and then drop the foot back. So you're mixing now right side and left side. Right side, yeah, left side. So you're just doing it on the spot, bringing the feet together and then stepping the leg back. Give it a try. So mixing right side and left. Good. Left side now. So just one point again with this. So try and feel now what you want to coordinate the movement from. The weapon work is always teaching us one thing. If you do this a lot, we'll teach this really clearly. So what you want to do is drive the weapon from the lower body. So the lower body takes precedence over the upper. Okay, so what you want to feel with this is that as you want to raise the sword up, rather than lifting with the hands first, get the back foot and drive the sword up with it. Okay, and then as you get to the top of the movement, again, rather than starting with the upper body, feel that the lower body generates the movement. So the foot dropping back now drops the sword in. So feel that you're driving the sword up with the foot, up, and down with the foot. So the lower body is taking now precedence. So this is the organization you want, which is basically lower over upper. There. Lower, upper. And if you do this upper first, it's really going to be very imbalanced because I'm basically pulling myself in and out of the ground all the time. So again, you're looking for a nice, grounded, balanced body. So, okay, we're going to take this into a little bit more of a comprehensive pattern. And this time you're going to cut to the front, and then you're going to rotate, and you're going to cut to the back side. So this is basically cutting in 180 degrees. Start with the right side forward. Again, draw to the back, start as you did before. Cut down. Now from here, you're going to rotate to the back, bring the sword above the head, and then drop into the cut this way. So in this case, you're not going to now find the back with the spine, only in the first cut. So you're going to, in the first cut, find the spine, drop in. Now from here, you're going to rotate to face behind you. Keep the feet as they are, so don't switch the feet. Just twist the feet here. So you're just doing that footwork. And now just let this all pass above the head in the center line, and then drop into the cut. As you want to go back, rotate up to the top of the head, cut in. Rotate up to the top of the head, cut in. That's it, give this a try. So it's just cutting right side, left side. So we'll first try and get the sword in the right position. So what you do in this case, if you watch, you rotate basically underneath the weapon. So if you imagine the tip of the sword is basically stuck in this position, you want the body to basically go underneath it. So you're going to come underneath it, and the tip of the weapon is going to come here and then drag up to the top of the head. So basically in this form, actually, if I show it from this direction, the sword's going to travel along this line. So it's not going to come out, and it's not going to come to the back. It's going to travel up that line and then drag up. So it goes up that line and then up that line. So again, what that means is the shoulders, the arms need to be flexible. If I'm too stiff, it's basically going to pull the sword out of that alignment. So the sword goes right down that line. Perfect. That's it. Okay. So again, it comes back to balance, and balance is a point that always comes up with Aikido, especially with martial arts always, but just watch now this. So as you go into it, just watch that the body's basically, if I'm pulling the body in and out of balance, basically means the body's getting thrown this way and that way. So think of your primary direction in this movement is downwards all the time. So all the time you want to be working in balance with the ground. And as soon as I pull myself out again, I'm going to increase tension in the upper body, and I'm going to start to basically bring tension through the whole structure. So think about dropping the weight down every time. And as you rotate through again, think about dropping the weight down, 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 down. But the moment I start to let the weight of the body be pulled out of balance, you're going to create a lot of tension in the body. And especially as you start to increase the power in the sword, that's going to increase all that tension. So think about, again, relaxing the structure down into the ground all the time. So you're always working with the ground and with gravity rather than against it. Not really. The idea, you want the hips to basically hug the ground. So you don't want the hips kind of ride up and then come down and ride up. But there is a natural movement of the hip because you're basically, you're going to this kind of position. This. So there's a sinking of the hip here. You see that? So the hip sinks, but the level doesn't necessarily change. So it's not that you're kind of bringing the hip up and then dropping it. It's that you're basically engaging the hip. Engaging the hip. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'll try it.
It's the difference between like that and that. So the hip's not stuck, but it's not it's not bobbing up and down.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Very good. Okay, great. So all these movements are kind of saburi movements. So they're not really designed as combat practices. They're designed to kind of increase connectivity, get this idea of relaxation, how to bring the sword into the power, how to bring the sword into the ground, and then later how to kind of add power. So they're training principles. Now we're just going to look at one form that's a little bit more practical, and it involves the same cut, so just a straight line cut. But this time we're going to advance the body in. So in this case, I want you to start right side forward. You're going to make one movement now, which is a step in and a cut this way. So this is much more of a kind of attacking style. You're just going to shift the legs forward. So you're going to step with the right and then drop the back foot in. And at the same time as you do that step, raise the sword, cut it down. Okay? And in this case, you're not going to let the sword drop to the spine like we did before. And this is more for kind of saburi work for practice. You're just going to let the sword come to the top of the head, just into that kind of angle. Okay, so you want now all the body to work together in, drop into the cut, and then just come back. So you've got a nice balanced position, and then go into the cut. Okay, give it a try. It's a little bit more of an attack form. So the main thing, this is what I want you to focus on now, is two states of the body. So you're always training in terms of martial arts especially, or any movement practice that you do, you're training on a technical level, like a physical level of the body. You're also training at an energetic level. And you want to train this now really clear. You want to start with, my energy in this case is really calm. So you want to really have a sense that you're neutral, calm. So you're not in this position where you're kind of agitated and kind of into this position. You want to be neutral, calm, and relaxed. Yeah, now as you go in, you want to shift your state straight into movement that way. So you want to really go in. It's not about speed, and it's about your energy. So you want your energy to be calm, controlled, and then from that control and calmness, I want to spring everything into the So the attack should kind of come from nowhere. So it's not that you have a kind of aggressive positioning and then I could pull myself into it. You're going from really calm, neutral, no signal, and then go move the body. So,
is it just like this here?
Yeah, this isn't the first saburi. So when you do this one, that foot just presses forward, so that movement. So the first saburi is drawing back, finding that position, right? And then dropping in. But this one, you're starting from this position, that foot just goes forward. in.
Oh, okay.
Just one step in, rather than kind of a pull back. You just step in straight in. Okay, good. So we're at the end of the class. So I'll just give it, again, a couple of explanations of what we were practicing. So the main thing that we're practicing the weapons, apart from learning to cut and use the weapon, we're training principles in the body. So these main principles for us, especially for Aikido, but kind of universal for movement practices. The first one's this idea of being relaxed and heavy. So dropping the weight, letting the limbs relax, so that I can basically utilize the structure of the body efficiently. And then the second one is this idea of grounding. So all the movements basically relating to gravity and using that to my advantage so that the structure aligns to the ground. And then I can basically start to press weight of the body out. In terms of sword work, pressing weight out of the weapon. And then the third one is really this idea about balance. So balancing the structure and again, trying to get rid of any excess tension and basically letting the structure basically always fall into the ground. So keeping that sense of balance. Especially difficult in movement when we start to practice into movement. And again, this idea of balancing the front and the back of the body with the sword as you do it. So these kind of directions start to balance out, and I can bring the body into a much more of a neutral position, and then again, I'm much more efficient in my movement. So those are the three main principles it's teaching. The other parts about centering, connecting, and then this idea that we did at the end about being calm in movement. So if you notice, like animals in the wild, they don't have a lot of aggression before the movement. There's a neutral position, calm, and then there's just movement. So the power later just comes from movement rather than an idea like I'm going to wind the body up and then do something. Just the idea that you can come from a calm position and then launch an attack. That's the kind of principle you're looking for. So, which is basically this idea of a unified structure, unified body and mind. That's the main thing that Aikido is also training. So we do it. Okay. So if you've got any questions, let me know. We'll take a quick bow out, and then if you've got anything to ask or if anything's not clear, let me know. So again, we'll stick the sword at the left hip. So, great. Okay. Domo arigato gozaimashita.
Domo arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimashita.